Hi there, welcome back. If you are watching this video, that means you successfully installed the database without any problem. Congratulations! As you remember from the previous lectures, I mentioned the multi-tenant architecture and pluggable databases and said that they will be initially closed. So you need to open that pluggable database once to be able to use the sample schema, which is HR, while executing your queries. Because the schema or the user has some tables and data in it, and we will use them in that course. Besides, the HR user will be locked by default, and you will not be able to connect to the database with that user. So first, you will need to unlock that user to be able to connect to the database. Actually, you are not a database administrator, so you don't need to apply these steps in the company you work in. But since you need to use a database throughout the course for training, you need to perform these steps by yourself. But as you saw in the previous lectures, I showed you the easiest way to install the database, and I will now show you the easiest way to access the HR schema successfully. So if you follow these steps carefully, you will not have any error. How to open the container database and unlock the HR user is very easy. I shared some scripts in the resources area and in the next lecture. Now I want you to copy these first 6 lines of code, including the / character as well. So let's do that. Now what we need to do is open the command prompt or the terminal. If you are a Windows user, you need to open up the command prompt, or if you are using a Linux operating system, then you need to open your terminal. So let's do that. Great. What we need to do here is very simple. I will just paste this code into here and run that. Since I use Windows, the command prompt will automatically run that code if I right-click on any place in the command line. So let's do that. Perfect. That's it. Now you opened the container database and unlocked the HR user. See that? Extremely easy. But I just want to explain what these commands mean. The first line of code, which starts with SQL Plus, provides you to connect to the database with the SQL Plus tool of the Oracle database. So what is that SQL Plus? The SQL Plus is a tool for the Oracle database to let you connect to the database. It does not have a graphical user interface, so anything you need to do here must be done by typing some commands. We will mostly use the SQL Developer tool during the course, but even though we will be rarely using the SQL Plus tool, I want you to be aware how to use it. In fact, you can also perform these steps by connecting to the database with the sys user within the SQL Developer, but in this way, it will be as easy as one right click here. So because of that, I showed it on the SQL Plus. So the first line lets you connect to the database with the sys user. If you see connected to and the database version here, that's okay. If not, I recommend you to check the Q&A lecture for an answer about how to handle that problem. You can think the next line of code like connecting to the pluggable database. It's an advanced topic, so no need to explain it here. But there is something important here. As you can see, at the end of that line of code, it writes ORCL PDB. As you guess, it is the name of the pluggable database we want to open. If you change the name of the pluggable database while installing it, you need to write that name instead of ORCL PDB here. You need to do that in the text file you have copied, then copy and paste it here after that. So if you see session altered here, that's perfect. Otherwise, you will see the pluggable database does not exist error. The next line of code is used to open the pluggable database, because initially the pluggable database will be closed and you need to open it. This line of code opens the pluggable database. Here you can see a success message like the pluggable database is altered, or you can have some errors. If the error says the pluggable database is already open, there is no problem. You can continue. However, even if you open the pluggable database, when you restart the database or your PC, the pluggable database will be closed again. And it is not practical to open the pluggable database in this way all the time. So to handle that, we will save the state of our pluggable database now. Because its state was in mounted mode, basically closed, but now we changed it to open. So from now on, even if you restart your database or your PC, you will not need to open the pluggable database again. Again, you see the pluggable database name here. If you changed the pluggable database name while installing it, you need to change it here as well. If you see the pluggable database altered message, it worked fine then. So the next line of code is for unlocking the HR user. In that code, the first HR is the name of the user and the second HR is the password that we specify for that user. So if you see a user altered message, it means you successfully unlocked the HR user and updated its password as HR in lowercase. Remember that you will need to use this password to connect to the database with the HR user. And please keep in mind that passwords are case sensitive. If all these are done successfully, then you can continue with the next lesson. But if you have any problems with any of these steps, please check the Q&A lecture of that course first. If you cannot find an answer to your problem, then you can ask me in the Q&A section anytime. I'll be here to help you. Perfect! If you have done these steps correctly, now you have a database ready to use. So this is the end of this lesson. See you in the next lecture.